Okay. Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Yuttapada Kamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavanscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitantam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha Shri Brhad Bhagavatamrta of Sanatana Goswami, the first part, chapter 5, Priya Nama. Shri Parikshit said, Shri Narada, with extreme delight in a stately dance, entered into the Kurudesha and in no time made haste to reach the capital town of the Pandavas. While Sri Narada was approaching the room of the palace of Sri Dharmaraja Yudhishthira, along with his dear kinsman, was speculating on how to make Sri Krishna hasten to be present amidst them, as they were thirsting souls to quench their thirst by his sight. To maneuver this without fail, Sri Yudhishthira was planning either to celebrate some yajna or to welcome some calamity to their palace. Just then Sri Yudhishthira sighted Narada approaching the gate. He quickly got up and ran to the gate to receive the great rishi. He was no doubt followed by all his brothers, his mother, and all the queens. But while Narada saw the king running to welcome him, he also hurriedly approached the king and made his obeisance first, before the king, which was followed by the reciprocating obeisance from Sri Yudhishthira. Next, Sri Yudhishthira, with due honor, brought the rishi to his court and made him occupy the most honorable throne. In the meantime, a variety of materials for worship were brought there, with which Sri Yudhishthira went to worship the rishi. Narada snatched them all from the hands of the king and made use of them to worship the king and the other Pandavas. Sri Narada sang the glories of the Pandavas to the accompaniment of his veena and extolled them in such adulatory terms as he had heard from Sri Hanuman. Sri Narada said, Bo Pandavas, you are all the most fortunate in having Sri Krishna, the Lord of the universe, as your most dear one, the deity, preceptor, friend, maternal cousin, and ambassador. Whereas this Sri Krishna could not be approached by Brahma and Shiva in their penetrating sadhana, you have captured his heart. He is known only through the efficacy of the most secret lore of the Vedas. Sri Nrsimha, Sri Vamana, and Sri Ramachandra are his partial manifestations, whereas other incarnations besides them are after all fractional facsimiles of him. Brahma and other deities are his mere effluents, and the very Mayadevi entirely depends upon his command for executing her triguna in producing, nurturing, and dissoluting the perverted world. Without invested power from him, she is powerless. Seeing the lamentable plight of Mother Earth, Brahma, along with other heavenly deities, went to the shore of the milky ocean for the observance of extreme austerities. But even with their utmost panegyrics, they could not gain his sight. All that Brahma could obtain was a celestial message from Sri Krishna in his meditating heart, which soon after conveyed to the other devatas, at which they were all pleased. The great rishi Garga in a few other enlightened souls have spoken confidentially into the ears of a very eminent personage, Sri Nanda Maharaj, at the very secret meeting that Bhagavan Narayana alone is, in certain respects, may be counted equal with Sri Krishna and none else. Therefore, in accordance with this spiritual fact, Sri Krishna is sometimes known as Dirgha Vishnu, Maha Hari, Maha Vishnu, and Maha Narayana in Sri Madhupuri. Narada continued, Bho, Pandavas, we, the rishis, with our complacent equilibrium and humble devoutness, always look for gracious favour of that Devaki Nandan Sri Krishna, who is ever gracious unto you, nay more, who is infatuated with you all. Lo, now know from me that this Devakinandana Sri Krishna in his previous incarnations rarely gave mukti, and that to a very limited number of chosen devotees, whereas now in this magnanimous manifestation he has given that boon without any discrimination. In his previous incarnations, he killed Kalanemi, Hiranyaksha, Hiranyakashipu, Ravana, Kumbhakarna, and very many other asuras and rakshasas, but none of them got mukti. Nay, acquisition of bhakti was to them like the attempt of a dwarf to reach the moon. No doubt, in his Narasimha incarnation, he easily bestowed bhakti on Prahlada. That too was not Shuddha Bhakti, it was Jnana Mishra Bhakti. In his Rama incarnation, Sri Hanuman, Jambavan, Sugriva, Vibhishana, Guhaka, Dasaratha, and others were no doubt the recipients of Shuddha Bhakti, but again in these cases none of them actually got pure Prema Bhakti. Whereas at present, countless people have become extremely fortunate in receiving not only mukti, but even Shuddha Bhakti. Very many are now floating in the ocean of Krishna Prema Rasa due to the unreserved blessings of Sri Krishna. Again, those Daityas who were all killed either by Krishna himself or by Arjuna or by others, viz. By Pandavas, also instead of going to the worst possible hell, sometimes got even moksha. Nay, those seekers after dharma, artha, kama, moksha, and tapas, etc., and jnanis like Vishwamitra, Gautama, Vashishta, and such other rishis, on their approach to Kurukshetra, got their enlightenment and prayed at the feet of Sri Krishna for nothing but bhakti alone, and forthwith were blessed by the Lord himself, and thenceforth became adherents to bhakti. Being favored by Sri Krishna, the trees, plants of tamasic nature, and inanimate objects even became possessed of Shuddha Sattva Bhav and the very media for showering Krishna Prema. Therefore, you, the Pandavas, are extremely fortunate indeed in being cousins to Sri Krishna. It is impossible for me to speak adequately about Sri Krishna's all-charming form, all-captivating beauty, elegant loveliness, and beatific sweetness. Never in his previous incarnations could such qualitative manifestation be seen. His Rupa Madhurya, Leela Madhurya, Guna Madhurya, and exalted Prema, and even the grove in which he sported on earth are supermundane, transcendental, and mysterious. I do believe that if Sri Krishna himself had not made his full manifestation on earth, then the magnanimity of his supreme godhood would never have been known. It is our good luck that In this present generous manifestation, his super excellent, beatific, transcendental Leela, with his paramount loveliness and sweetness, shine above all spiritual characteristics. Oh, what a divine joy I feel! Not to speak about his positive graciousness, even his oppression of the Asuras is an act of grace, because even there he gave mukti. And in this respect, example can be drawn from Kamsa, Kaliya, Putana, etc. And more significantly, Bali's incident also may be taken into account. Sri Parikshit said, while Sri Narada, with great exuberance, was extolling the super excellence of Sri Krishna, he restrained the tip of his tongue between his teeth with some shyness and said, "Oh, what audacity! I exceed my limit. How, like an ambitious dwarf, I aspire to catch the moon in the heaven. Oh, my covetous tongue! You are lucky indeed, having taken liberty to glorify the Leela of the Lord, which, no doubt, is delicious food to the devotees." Then Narada told the Pandavas, "Oh, ye blessed, ye clever ones! What a great prema ye all possess, for Sri Krishna too has shown exceptional mercy towards you all. But how can one born on earth count those acts of abounding mercy of the Lord? It will be an act of sheer foolishness to attempt it. Oh, what a great devout heart your mother Sri Kunti Devi has. Once, when a Krura conveyed to her the most pleasing tidings of Sri Krishna, she overcame the agony she was suffering and entered into an ocean of bliss. She appeared like burning with an inexhaustible, inextinguishable flame, but on hearing the consoling words from Sri Krishna, she seemed to solve the mystery of perennial happiness. She actually burst out with a loud cry, which, if heard, would have split any heart. She is so great that she not only affectionate to you all as being her sons, but she loves you all because you are all lovingly devoted to Sri Krishna. You see, Krishna, the very life of the Yadavas, so to say, after spending a considerable period with you, wanted to repair to Dwaraka. At that time, Sri Kunti Devi, with her earnest supplication, made him stay further at her home. It is due to Krishna that Yudhisthira got the highest type of honor and fame in all the worlds, and he himself was put the mark of victory on his forehead, on the forehead of Bhimasena, by making him responsible for killing Jarasandha instead of doing it himself. This act of killing Jarasandha could have been done by God himself beforehand during his campaign of a conquest. Arjuna got his single name on earth not for his conquest, but for being a dear friend of Sri Krishna. Even of hundreds of Puranas and other relishable literature should be written on the association of Arjuna and Sri Krishna, they would not be able to comprehend all their glories. Again, how can I fail to mention these twin brothers, Nakula and Sahadeva, who are also greatly devoted to Sri Krishna? How else could they, at the Rajasuya Yagya, promptly suggest that the first offering must go to Sri Krishna alone, at which every worthy one observed their wisdom? Next, above all, how can I adequately describe the role of Draupadi? Sri Krishna, with his own hand, gave her an ablution by sprinkling holy water on her hair before the Rajasuya Yagya. He addresses her as Priya Sakhi. And once again, while the Pandavas were living in exile, only one one day, malicious Duryodhana sent Durvasa, the angry rishi, son of Atri, with his numberless disciples to become a chance guest of the Pandavas at an odd time, with the sole motive that the rishi, being disappointed with the hospitality shown, should curse the Pandavas to their doom. But Sri Krishna sensed from far away Draupadi's plaintive cry and sincere eulogy. In her state of desperation, made his advent in person before her, and proved not only to be her saviour, but also the protector of the prestige of the Pandavas. Again, when the barbarous savage Dushasana dragged her and pulled her sari to expose her in a shameful state in the open assembly, did not Sri Krishna clothe her in an endless web, which not only saved her from the plight at the moment, but held her up for all time as an example of the miraculous power of self-surrender? Did he not subsequently bring about a proper punishment to the morbid-minded Dushasana at the hands of Bhima? Why should Sri Krishna relish the simple offering of Vidura instead of the palatable dishes offered by Duryodhana? His presence during the last rites of Bhishma was for no other reason than his alliance with you, Pandavas. You all have to agree on this point. It is also wonderful how the ladies in the private apartments of the palace of Pandavas should have cultivated such excellent knowledge and bhakti towards Sri Krishna that their glories have been sung in profound verse by the great philosophical poets like Sri Vyasadeva himself. I should say that might be needing some explanation. He's talking about the women of Hastinapur when they offered their prayers and Krishna and Balaram, or Krishna was entering, and they made many philosophical observations in their songs. So great that poets like Vyasadeva have recorded them, so that's because they're in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Anyway, Sri Prahlad, son of Mother Kayadu, along with his grandson Bali, became the recipient of God's unreserved favor, and Kapindra Sri Hanuman himself got such special type of blessing from the Lord. And at present you, the Pandavas, along with all your kith and kin, have received exceptional and affectionate love from Sri Krishna. What elevated, loving souls you are! Extremely fortunate indeed. Though Kauravas sometimes with secret motives sent offerings to Sri Krishna, he at once remarked to us, to me and other assembled rishis on the occasion, those who are friends to Pandavas are close to me also, whereas those who are inimical to them, they are equally so to me. I do not consider the Pandavas, I do consider the Pandavas as my very life. If persons like me try to get at the other end of the ocean-like merit of you Pandavas, it will be fruitless labor indeed. It is only that great God Sri Krishna who can unfold it. Therefore, it is my considered opinion that the very cause of the descent of the great God Sri Krishna is just for making a success of your mission on earth. Mark, do you want to take over now? Because Mathura,
I don't have a copy. I don't have a copy.
Mark does, though.
Okay. Oh, yeah, of course he does. Yeah.
All right, let him take
Sorry,
over.
it just takes me a while to get this thing working.
Okay, so
that's
page
all right.
44,
there I am.
paragraph. You know. Okay, well done.
Right. Okay. Hold on a
Make
sec.
sure the camera's all set up properly.
So I read for about 20 minutes.
Okay. Well, give me a shout when I should stop. Maybe that's.
So you got to the end of the chapter there, did you?
No, I didn't.
No.
The chapters are a little longer, so
Okay,
It
well,
take ages to read a whole chapter.
Really?
Yeah.
So does it? So
Ah.
this chapter's not just the Pandavas; it's more in this one chapter.
yes,
Well, you've got to have their whole response after all that.
yes.
Okay, yeah. It's great because I know how it ends up, but I can't remember this section of it. So it's all kind of like, and because I'm so into the Pandavas at the moment,
Well then,
it's exquisite, isn't it? It's just like going, it's just beautiful. Mark, can you?
it
Yeah,
is indeed.
I won't give anything
that's a
away. I'll
nice
be
lighting,
quiet.
by the way, on you, Mark. It looks really good. The
Is it?
lighting, yeah, it looks really good.
Oh,
It's a
good.
good. It's a different lighting than your other lighting. It makes you
Now
look.
I've got a lamp nearby so I can see the page clearly.
It works. You just
Okay.
get it tipped a little bit because when you put your head down, that means we lose the bottom of your mouth like that. So
Oh, I see.
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Perfect. That's it. That's
Okay.
the one.
Okay. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sri Parikshit said, but Dharmaraj Yudhisthira felt extremely embarrassed at hearing such adulatory words, of Narada, and for some time he became mute. What was he to say? Then, breathing a long sigh, and in the hearing of his mother, all the brothers and queens, he said, O great sage, expert in such eloquent ecomia, is it a fact that Sri Hari has conferred his special favor on us? From the core of my heart, I should say, how is it possible to justify this claim to any undue favor for us, when common men will look at our sad plight, engulfed as we are in all kinds of danger besetting life, that they may generally be led to mistrust the path of devotion to Sri Krishna, and ordinary aspirants may consequently lose all hope of divine help. As water is to the fish, without water and food there is no nourishment of life, so is Sri Krishna to us. Therefore, if ordinary men, through their improper reading of our life, should lose their faith in him, then it would pierce our hearts. Therefore, my sole purpose in observing the Rajasuya Yagya was to let people know the destinies of those who worship him and those who do not have recourse to him. I do want that all people should take themselves to the path of devotion to him and win his favor by keeping their eye over you on the Cape of Good Hope in the most austere life of his ardent devotees, and also taking into account the wealth of the devotees. Some may turn towards him with the idea of gaining their objects from the wish-yielding tree and thereby get rid of sorrows and fears. Now, no doubt, Sri Krishna has killed all our enemies, who are all devoid of devotion to him, and has offered us the kingdom. But thereby we feel more melancholy than heretofore, because, for our sake, respectable preceptors like Drona and Bhishma, our most affectionate son Abhimanyu, and many other devotees of Sri Krishna met their death. We do not lay much value on our own life, but we do lay much store by association with the devotees of God. Therefore, on account of the loss we have suffered, we do not feel quite at home, even for a moment. Further, nowadays it has become a stray chance to have darshana of the blossomed lotus-like face of Sri Krishna, since he rarely makes himself present amidst us, and that being only on special occasions at long intervals. At present he stays at Dwaraka, and his most dear and bosom friends, the Yadavas, who are most fortunate indeed, are enjoying nectarine bliss by having constant union with him there. No doubt, Sri Krishna, for our sake, sometime acted as an ambassador or a charioteer or in some other way, but all these acts were for reinstating dharma aright and destroying all the vilest persons, and thereby making Mother Earth free from her burden. Sri Parikshit said. Next, Bhima, the robust friend of Sri Krishna, with a loud laugh, said, "Bo Narada, disciple of Sri Krishna, listen to me for a moment, and know that Sri Krishna, whose mysterious Leela is ever beyond human understanding, he being the efficient cause of Maya and consequently mystery maker, has made his dealings with us so miraculous that it has been very hard even for us to realize what his intention was, with the result that we often became suspicious. Sri Parikshit said, "Bo, mother." Next, my grandfather Sri Arjuna, the best friend of Krishna, breathing a sigh with a heavy heart, spoke out thus: "Bo, most venerable Sri Narada, Sri Krishna, who is dear to one and all, no doubt out of his kindest favor, has acted as a charioteer, etc. to us, but such condescension on his part is really very painful to us. How painful it is that at the battle of Kurukshetra, for saving my life when Bhishma, who, as per his strict adherence to Kshatriya Dharma, aimed at me the invincible sharpened weapons, Sri Krishna bore them all on his own person. Ah, his body, soft as the petals of roses, got wounded for my sake. Even today, the mere thought of this breaks my heart. Therefore, how can I be happy thereby? How can the act which, instead of creating pleasure, produces sorrow, be justified as merciful kindness? While I wanted to refrain from the woeful killing of Bhishma, Drona, etc., he inspired me by delivering Gita Upadesha and made me act upon his will. Why should he thus call on me? Bhakti is the natural temper of our hearts, and we have ever been adhering to him, yet he had to give advice to me to fight, in order that thereby agnosticism may be conquered by true philosophy. And we feel sorry he was made to do all this. When I go too deep into the teachings of the Gita, it pains my heart, because the lessons there of will lead people to think that he had to exert himself to make me adherent to him, whereas the fact is that ever from our very birth we have all been his ardent devotees with all submissive spirit. He taught in the Gita the creed of Sharanagati, which is the keynote of the Gita, whereas my total self-surrender to him has been beyond question at all times. I know well, through my intuitive power, the divine characteristics of Devaki Nandan Sri Krishna, whose abounding spontaneous flow of mercy and unreserved friendliness for me created in me unshakable faith, and his beatific transcendental form is the only reality for me on which my life depends entirely. Hare Krishna. Thereafter, Sri Nakula and Sri Sahadev spoke. Bo, most remarkable Narada, Sri Krishna has taught us, no doubt, to be unperturbed at any impending danger and to get success in Ashvamedha Yajna. And it is he who has offered us the highest fame and the throne, but we do not consider such acts of his as showing his kindness towards us. We are indeed proud to recognize his real grace towards us in readily accepting the first offering at our Mahayajnas. But nowadays we are denied his sight. Ah, void of him, life becomes a void. How to get him here is now the only problem in our life. Sri Parikshit said. Next, Draupadi, burdened with the pang of separation from Sri Krishna, shed tears, and with great difficulty, having composed herself, said, I have ever gratefully acknowledged that Sri Krishna, dear as my very life to me, showed extreme favor to me by protecting me from Dushasana's barbarous act of pulling my apparel to the point of nakedness, and felt elated at the destruction of those evil persons thereafter. Again, at the battle of Kurukshetra, although I lost my father, brother, and own sons, yet considering them as the will of God, I did not feel sorrow for them, and even felt that I gained something thereby, because on such occasion Sri Krishna himself sat by my side and consoled me by giving his most enlightening advice. I actually drank deep the nectarine words which came out of his divine mouth.
Wow.
Still. Sorry, now I'm confused. I actually drank deep the nectarine words which came out from his divine mouth. Still I shall remember his smiling face. But now my heart breaks to think that it is our unfortunate fate not to see him in his wanderings, and hardly, if ever, coming to meet us. So how can I consider myself as bathed in his grace? Sri Parikshit said. Lastly, Sri Kunti Devi, to whom the sight of Sri Krishna is the very life, thought deeply about Sri Krishna's mercy towards her, and also his uniform favour in the past, and in a pathetic tone, with tearful eyes, said, excuse me, I ever thought that Sri Krishna's favour to me was greater than his own mother Devaki, particularly in respect of his prompt help in delivering me, the destitute, and my helpless children from imminent danger. But at present I am constrained to feel differently, seeing that on the battlefield those ladies who lost their husbands beat their hearts with loud lamentation. Oh my God, I never wanted any wealth and rank and retinue which would keep me away from him. On the contrary, I would always pray for unending sorrows which actually force him to be by my side. He, Krishna, thinks, I have given the throne to the Pandavas, and they are free from all enemies. Therefore they are living happily. With such a conviction he has left us and is staying at Dwaraka, and we have almost lost the hope of his presence here again. Without him, I am like a fish out of water. I pray for my immediate death, in which I shall count his grace. I ever cherished the notion that Sri Krishna is ever affectionate towards his friends, but I'm losing that faith on account of his love for Yadavas and his indifference towards us. So, Narada, you had better go to the Yadavas, who are almost dear to him, and who are therefore ever floating in the nectarine ocean of Krishna Prema. The comparative excellence of the Yadavas is well known to you. How can I point it out? Sri Parikshit said, Mother, you are fortunate indeed, being the daughter-in-law to Subhadra Devi, who came from the Yadava family. Anyhow, listen further that without wasting any time, Sri Narada left for Dwaraka and in no time reached there, as he had divine power. And with repeated Dandavat Pranams, he entered into the palace of Dwaraka, where he could notice the most fortunate Yadavas. Narada saw Yadavas happily seated at Sri Sudharma assembly, and all of them were charmingly adorned with parijata garlands. Further, the chanters were singing songs of Vaikuntha, accompanied by musical instruments, and occasional dance, and many others were reciting their glories. The Yadavas were at their merrymaking, and the effulgence of their body, before which the brightness of the sun would be dim, was not scorching, but calm like moonlight. All of them were bedecked with precious ornaments, and even those who were all pretty old appeared young, due to Sri Krishna's grace. All of them drank to their heart's content the nectar from the moonly face of Sri Krishna. All of them were shining like besetting gems, centering Maharaj Ugrasena, and all of them were most restlessly awaiting the arrival of Sri Krishna amidst them. Sri Narada saw all of them with their minds and eyes fixed on the passage from the inner chamber through which Sri Krishna was expected to come, and they were engaged in expressing the glories of Krishna. But as soon as the assembled Yadavas saw Sri Narada seated on the floor at a distance, they ran to him and brought him with great affection to the assembly hall. A most beautiful throne was offered to him, but out of his humility he desired to sit on the floor itself. And when he did so, all the Yadavas also sat on the floor, surrounding him on all sides. In the meantime, the articles for worshipping him were brought there, but with folded palms he prevented them from doing so. Then, lifting both his hands with folded palms, he went on saying, Bo, the most favourite ones, you Yadavas, I do not find any others in all the worlds who have obtained such abounding mercy of Sri Krishna as you have. Now I pray for one thing, that I may ever be permitted to sing the glories of yourselves on earth. Oh, glory to you, the Yadavas. You are more glorious than the inhabitants of Vaikuntha. Due to you, people on this earth have become indeed more praiseworthy than inhabitants of Vaikuntha. Ah, Mother Earth, you are now crowned with all the success as the very God himself in the person of Devaki Nandan has unfolded his most secret Leela at Dwaraka associated with the Yadavas. And it is accounted on your credit, to your credit, that you have given birth, shelter, and everything to serve the need of Sri Krishna. Oh, what a mysterious Leela it is that Sri Krishna, the great God, leaving aside his Vaikuntha, lives here with the Yadavas and feels greatly delighted in his dealing with you all in the matter of seeing, talking, touching, following, seating, merrymaking, and indulging in all other activities generally related to the world. And here flows the current of prema, which leads one to the very path of mukti. You Yadavas think of nothing but Krishna prema, and you are so much absorbed in it that you give little heed to your other wants, such as comforts and bodily requirements. Bo, Emperor Ugrasena, is there anyone in these three worlds to count your supernatural glories? Oh, let the world know how Mahahari Shri Krishna, who is a very mine of wonders and a very storehouse of mystery, becomes subservient to your affection. Ah, Ugrasena, Bo Yaduraj Ugrasen, while you sit on the throne, how Sri Krishna stands by your side like a most obedient servant and looks for your favor, saying, Bo Deva, I stand here as your humble servant. Order what I have to do. When Sri Krishna himself keeps such a relationship with you, what should I think of you? So time and again my obeisance to you and to those who are all associated with you. Sri Parikshit said, Bo, mother, on hearing Sri Narada Muni, Yadavas, the associates of Bhagavan Sri Krishna, touched his feet, showing him due respect, and spoke thus. Bo Prabhu, most respectable Narada, you are great. You are so great that our master Sri Krishna too honors you. We are really poor in respect of your greatness. You, out of your humility, give your namaskaram to us, but we, as poor humble selves, do not feel fit for it. Dear Narada, we know how clever you are in using your tongue wherever even Brahma, the creator of the Vedas, fails. The glories about us you just narrated are agreeable, no doubt, but the whole credit goes to our beloved Sri Krishna only. He is the sweet comrade and the embodiment of mercy to us. One who gets a little favor from him possesses everything. Sri Krishna is the ocean of mercy. One who keeps him in his pure mind gets all the fourfold aspired objects of human pursuit. The humble destitute ever gets a seat in the corner of his heart. Those humble selves who take sole shelter at his feet will find that he personally looks after their best spiritual attainment. But amongst us, Sriman Uddhava is the greatest favorite of Sri Krishna. He, Uddhava, has the best chance to serve him as chief advisor, chief disciple, principal servant, and dearest one. Ah, when our Lord goes elsewhere, leaving us here, the deep pang caused thereby does not get healed even on his return, because the fear remains even then that he might leave us once again at any time. Whereas Uddhava knows them all and also constantly follows the Lord even on his journeys. You, dear Narada, see sometimes the place which is to be visited by the Lord himself is instead visited by Uddhava, and the Lord gets the work done by him. Instances may be pointed out here, such as when the Kauravas encircled Shamba and the Lord sent Uddhava to rescue him, or while the Lord is taking his food, it is Uddhava alone amongst us who is allowed to stand by him, and thereafter, most luckily, he is honoured with the remnant Mahaprasadam. While the Lord lies on his bed, Sri Uddhava attends to massaging his feet, and he holds both the feet of the Lord on his breast while he himself goes to sleep. Sometimes he goes along with the Lord to his inner chamber, where the Lord goes to meet his Cupid lady lover, instance Kubja's place. Again, at the court of Sri Krishna, he acts as the prime minister to him. Sri Krishna discloses to him alone the sweetest and enchanting tidings, which he narrates before us only later for our spiritual welfare. We may not be able to fully narrate his loving service of Sri Krishna. Therefore, his close friendly dealing with Sri Krishna is sometimes misinterpreted by many as mere madness. Lo, how greatly he is intoxicated at the loving service of the lotus feet of the Lord. In this very birth, he has transcended the human qualities and possesses Sri Krishna's divine characteristics. His personal beauty even excels the beauty of Pradyumna, who is the very counterpart of Sri Krishna in beauty and has become more loved to Sri Krishna than Pradyumna, his own son. Sri Krishna presents to him his own used favorite articles such as Vanamala, yellowish silk garments, Kaustuba mani, Makara-shaped earrings, etc. And when he, Uddhava, comes out wearing them in his person, we are extremely delighted to see him in that dress which resembles our Cynosure Sri Krishna himself. So Sri Parikshit said, Mother, Sri Narada Rishi, after hearing about the unparalleled divine disposition of Uddhava, just wanted to leave for Uddhava's residence, and he was so much delighted that many of the symptoms of Ashta Sattvika Bhavas were visible in his person. But suddenly he was prevented by the Emperor Ugrasena himself, who addressed him thus: Bo, most venerable one, you may be aware that he, Uddhava, never stays away from the Lord except when the Lord orders him otherwise. Even I do not get such a chance to be so close to him. This is my plight, that I have to look after his elusive kingdom. But I do not lament for it. I feel in it a great pleasure, as thereby I do indirectly serve Sri Krishna by doing what he desires. The pity is that I am deceived by Sri Krishna, and when he gives me honour, Uddhava is extremely fortunate indeed, whereas, like me, none else here at Dwaraka is so deprived of personal service to him. So you please go and meet Uddhava at the private chamber of the Lord and convey to him that we are eagerly awaiting Sri Krishna's presence. It's already late, and we have become impatient to quench our thirst by having his darshana. Therefore, without further delay, let him bring Sri Krishna to this Sudharma assembly. Without him, this assembly is an empty shell.
Wow. That was so well read. Thank you, Mark. That was brilliant.
Yes.
That's okay.
It's great, isn't it?
It's bad. I just love
Fabulous.
Brhad
Fabulous.
Bhagavatamrta.
Amazing.
It's just this wave after wave of one rasa into a different rasa and a different bhava. It's just fabulous.
It's all beautiful, isn't it?
It's just exquisite. It's my book, basically, of all the, Chaitanya Charitamrita, but this has been the book that really point. Okay. Well, you're back on it, oh boy. Off you go.
So, chapter 6 of the first part of Sanatana Goswami's Brhad Bhagavatamrta, Priyatama Nama. The previous one was Priya Nama, so more than Priya, dear is Priyatama, very dear. So Sri Parikshit said, am I on, yeah? Okay. Bro, mother, after listening to the glories of Sri Uddhava, Narada, the great favorite of Sri Krishna, enters into a world of ecstasy. And so much was he absorbed that he forgot himself, and simply holding the veena in his hand like a mechanical instrument with some internal compelling force, walked towards the inner chamber of Sri Krishna. As he had frequently visited Dwaraka before, almost like a blind man sensing the correct path instinctively, Narada Rishi, even in that impassive state, was not puzzled by different crossroads and could proceed along the right path leading to the chamber of Sri Krishna. Love intoxicated Narada on his way sometimes fell to the earth in a semi-conscious state, but again stood motionless for quite a long time. Then suddenly got a terrible shivering in his body and fell down to the earth and started rolling, and oftentimes danced with great ejaculation. And so happened that at one and the same time all the 8 Satvika symptoms got their manifestation in his person. But, dear mother, more attractive, now I have to tell you something deeper, at which I may lose even my own senses. Therefore, if anything comes beyond your understanding, you, instead of disturbing my thought, try to understand what I say. That particular day when Sri Narada came, Sri Krishna, due to some mental perturbance, was lying in the close chamber of his bedroom. His most favorite Uddhava, with a heavy heart, came out of the doors and sat near about in a sorrowful mood. Gradually, Sri Baladeva, Mother Devaki, Rohini Devi, Rukmini, Satyabhama, the dear ones of the Lord, came there and joined Sri Uddhava, but all of them were anxious about Sri Krishna. Every one of them was feeling extremely unhappy at such a state of affairs of Sri Krishna, and without knowing the reason thereof, they were silently awaiting. But the mother of Kamsa, Padmavati, whose very character is a picked fuel into the fire of agony of the devotees, also came and sat amidst them. When they were all assembled near the entrance to Sri Krishna's bedroom, Narada happened to be present there in that state of ecstasy. At once all of them got up and hurriedly welcomed him. They comforted him, and making him composed, they made him wash his face, which was still flooded with joyful tears. Then they gently asked him, "Oh, Narada, oh, great one, why do we find you in this state of ecstasy? Heretofore never could we notice such ejaculation in you. It is accidental. Be quietly seated for some time and let us know all about it." Sri Parikshit said, "Devarshi Narada, due to the flood of tears, could see none at first, but soon he composed himself, and brushing away the tears from his eyes, saw them all and paid them his obeisance. He was still in that spiritual turbulence of shivering, with hair standing on end, and in a choked voice he asked, "Oh, great ones, kindly lead me to Uddhava, the most chosen adherent of Sri Krishna. No, no, how can I meet such a great one? Let me have first of all a sight of a particle of his foot dust, which will bring solace to my mind." What a great soul is he who among the devotees of the past and present could be proud of receiving such favour from God as no others could aspire for. Therefore, he is known as the shining Guru among the Parama Bhagavatas on this earth, and Sri Krishna himself counts him as a glorious gem set in the necklace that he wears. Lo, Bhagavan himself said, neither Brahma, my son, nor my brother Balaram, nor Shiva, nor Lakshmi, nor even my own Sri Vigraha body is so dear to me as Uddhava is. The glories of Uddhava are extolled by God himself in abundance, which are recorded in red letters in a number of Puranas. I have heard today from the lips of Ugrasena about the exceptional and unprecedented love of Sri Krishna towards Uddhava. As soon as those words entered my ears, they saturated my heart with overwhelming devotional perturbance, with the result that I totally lost my patience. Sri Pariksit said, as soon as these words entered the ears of Uddhava, he immediately got up and, showing the utmost humility, caught hold of Narada's feet and forcibly placed them on his lap. In no time, Uddhava could study the heart of Sri Narada, which was yearning for meeting one who was really the greatest favourite of Sri Krishna, and thereupon his mind travelled to Vrindavan and became completely absorbed in the thought of the gopis' love towards the Lord. He wept bitterly in loving memory of the gopis. Then, with great difficulty, he could compose himself, and that too to a certain extent only, and ejaculating with the Satvika jealousy, uttered a word of warning, Bo Sarvagya, knower of everything, foreteller, the very embodiment of truthfulness, Bo Mahamuni, venerable Narada. Very good, yes, you are the foremost preceptor on the part of devotion, so all that you say is no doubt true and unexceptionable. Yes, why not? I possess not only those qualities that you have just narrated, but I may say I have many more qualities that are known to me and to Ugrasena and some others who may have spoken about me to you. But, dear Narada, recently I went to Braja, where I observed the unimaginable and unthinkable love of Braja gopis, and it made my proud head bow down unto earth out of reverence to them. I could then know on what a high pedestal is reserved for the gopi seat in the pleasant woodlands of Krishna's enchantment, and at what low level my own seat is reserved. I felt in my heart of hearts for whom Sri Krishna's sweet heart is reserved, and who are the dear ones par excellence to him. But how mysterious is the characteristic of his prema. I am fortunate indeed to realize the unfathomable sweet beatitude of Gopi's love. At the very sight of the Brajavasis, I felt myself blessed, and I considered that it was a real gift of my master, Sri Krishna, to send me there, and then only counting myself as one of the confidants of my master, I felt extremely delighted. I was so much overpowered with spiritual emotion at Braja that repeatedly I sang the glories of the gopis, and my tongue cannot adequately express the aspiration that rose in my heart, making me roam about in ecstasy, which is well known to everybody. So, Bo, great Muni, time and again I salute you, and with all humility say that although I know you are thirsting to drink deep of the ocean like prema lore, kindly do not ask further about it here at least. In brackets, when Satyabhama is present here, she may feel embarrassed. End of brackets. Sri Parikshit said, Sri Rohini Devi, who lived for quite a long period at Gokula, became quite familiar with the inhabitants of Gokula. She could in no time study the heart of Uddhava, and shedding tears in a sorrowful mood, she said, Bo Hari Sri Haridas, Uddhava, what a heart-breaking plight. Ah, don't bring to my memory the sad plight of the gopis. My heart breaks when I remember their miserable condition. Ha, are they not most unfortunate? They are in the ocean of melancholy and are burnt always with a hard gem-like flame of the pang of separation from Sri Krishna. Without Sri Krishna, they are like fish out of water. Oh, could they even now be alive without him? When Sri Vasudeva brought me, after Kamsavada, to Mathura, at that time the bereaved heart of Yashoda burst into tears in such a way that even the hardest stone could not remain untouched. And I might further say that the Vajra itself, thunder, harder than the stones, broke into pieces. And what should I say about the gopis? They are living in the midst of in a most plightful condition. They are void of Sri Krishna, void of life. No human mind can think of their state of perturbance. They remain, as it were, fish out of water. Being a lady with little knowledge, I thought that Sri Krishna might heed to me. Therefore, on his return from Gurukulam, I, with a lamenting heart, told him in brief about the miserable conditions of the gopis caused by his separation. But he seemed to be heedless of my statement, which made no impression on his heart. Otherwise, how could he have discharged his duty toward them by merely sending you, Uddhava, to them to console instead of presenting himself amidst them? He probably thought that you, by your clever powers of persuasion, might be able to make them composed. But lo, Uddhava, fie unto you all! Was it the best consoling grace of Sri Krishna towards them that he thought of and sent you there? For, on the contrary, it added fuel to the fire of their agony. I have directly witnessed how all of them, with total self-abnegation from the very moment of Sri Krishna's advent at Braja, have endured the deprecations of asuras successively, beginning with Putana and ending with Keshi. They have stood the wrath of Indra as well as of Varuna, and again the threat of the Kalyanaga, the act of Sakatasura, the fall of both the Arjuna trees. Very many such incidents threatened the life of Braja, yet they looked upon Sri Krishna for comfort without the least perturbance. They never thought of taking any precaution for themselves in spite of repeatedly befalling dangers, concentrating on the single purpose of taking care of Sri Krishna. At all times, when all such accidents occurred, instead of looking to their safety, they ever sought Sri Krishna's welfare as if they were blind to his supremacy. The Brajavasis have such unalloyed and supreme prema towards Sri Krishna that they, with all their belongings, dedicated themselves to the pleasure and self-satisfaction of Sri Krishna alone. But on the other side, did Sri Krishna during his stay at Braja show any kindness towards the Brajavasis? Uddhava, can you open your mouth in this respect? Your master Sri Krishna is so ungrateful and heartless, and again so selfish, as he proved that after killing Kamsa, what he has done in respect of the gopis is sheer ungratefulness. Shame! Shame unto him! Should I speak such things to others? Sri Parikshit said, on hearing Rohini Devi, evil-minded and motivated Padmavati, mother of the wicked Kamsa, who due to her old age became hair-brained and shaking her head, said, lo, how painful! Achyuta, Sri Krishna, since his very boyhood has been tending the cattle of the gopas in the forest, full of thorns. Yet merciless as they were, they showed no pity on him at all. Ah, neither was he provided with footwear, nor even proper nourishment. Ah, fie! Again, being extremely hungry, if at a time he drank the milk of their cows, at once the ladies of the house took him so seriously to task that they tied him up with ropes and made a hue and cry, giving wide publicity to his robbery. But due to circumstances, Sri Krishna had to observe such ill treatment. Yet you, Rohini, consider that Sri Krishna has to do something for them as his duty in return. Sri Parikshit said, Sri Rohini Devi, the one who is the real bosom friend to the gopis and who is the wisest lady, full of gravity and dignity, without giving any heed to the biased remarks of Padmavati, went on narrating in detail about the miserable plight of the inhabitants of Braja. She said, oh yes, Sri Krishna, after killing the enemies, got possession of Sri Mathura, the capital of the Yadavas, and now, becoming the king of kings, spends the days happily and comfortably. Lo, Uddhava, your Lord Sri Krishna defied all the devatas of the heaven and soon once again favored them with returns therefore. How he now regularly receives their worship. So he does not keep in his mind the Brajabasis. Such an ungrateful being could never be thought of. Sri Parikshit said, Sri Rukmini Devi, daughter of Bhishmaka and first beloved queen of Sri Krishna, could not remain silent at such remarks of Sri Rohini. She said, oh, mother, his, Sri Krishna's, heart is really softer than the butter itself. You have quite mistaken with him without studying even a bit about his so tender heart. Kindly listen to me about the facts that I personally witness every now and then. While he is asleep at night, he speaks so much of Braja. Sometimes he calls by name with his sweet, loving voice a particular cow. At other times he addresses by name either his friends or some of the gopas. Again, he stands aright in his three-bend posture, flute in hands, or he cries out saying, Mother, give me milk. Time and again he addresses me, Hey Radhe, hey Lalite, or sometimes, Hey Chandravali, why do you behave strangely? So saying, he catches hold of my garment, or sometimes he drenches his pillow, shedding tears even while he is asleep. Suddenly he gets up from his bed with a bitter cry, at which we are put into the ocean of sorrow and melancholy. Even last night, while he was asleep, he dreamt of something and suddenly got up with a loud cry, and therefore, even now, after daybreak too, with some deep feeling in his heart, he is lying on the bed and covering his mouth with a piece of cloth. Oh, though late, even now he has not attended to his daily rites. Sri Parikshit said, next, Sri Satyabhama, the co-sister of Sri Rukmini Devi, in a jealous, jesting tone said, lo, Sri Rukmini, why do you say that our Lord does so only while asleep? Sometimes even in daytime and in a quite wakeful state, he so much becomes absorbed in such thoughts that it causes a delirium and he goes on acting just as you have referred to. What? We are his queens only in name, whereas, to speak the truth, even the maidservants of the wives of the cowherds are far more dear ones to him than ourselves. Sri Parikshit said, Rohini Nandan, Sri Balarama, to whom the inhabitants of Gokula are the very life itself, felt uncomfortable at the remarks of Sri Rukmini Devi and Satyabhama. Therefore, in an angry mood, he said, Oh, dear ones, I know that such acts of Sri Krishna are merely dramatic. Here we are taking note of the forlorn condition of the gopis. Therefore, my brother Sri Krishna, who is the cleverest pretender, acts this drama to make us believe that in his heart he is lamenting for the lot of the gopis of Braja. You see, even after my 2 months stay over in Braja, I could be of very, very little help to bring comfort and consolation to them, and I became quite sure that without Sri Krishna's very presence at Braja, nothing could make them feel composed. Therefore, time and again, I gave my promise to them that I would be sending Sri Krishna to them as soon as I would reach Dwarka. So saying, I hurriedly came back here, Dwarka, with all my deep feeling. I said to him, Dear Krishna, taking into account the feeling of their pangs, you must, without loss of time, make your advent in Braja. Otherwise, it would be impossible to save their lives. He said that certainly he would go, but his heart works to contrary. Alas, he never acted upon his promise. Therefore, everything is mere pretense. You want to carry on, Mark? Mark?
Did you just do 20 minutes, madam?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I mean, how? Okay. This is just so much best. Yeah, Mark, go for it. It's fabulous, isn't it? It's just like it's just the Russers just keep the theatre, it's just brilliant. Is it Padmavati? What's her name? The late
Yeah, Padmavati, yeah.
she's brilliant,
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant, isn't
yeah,
she?
yeah.
You know,
So
she's just
funny.
great. She's Rasabas
Yeah.
personified. Just great.
I
It's just
think
so.
she'll say some more in a minute, I think.
Oh, I know. I remember when I remember it creates hilarity,
Yeah,
and it accentuates the other
yeah,
feelings of everybody.
yeah. And someone to hate.
And also, it's always it's like it brings out the different personalities and all the different kinds of feelings that they have, and it just shows you Krishna's the center, but everybody's around with different relationships. I just love all that.
Yeah.
Okay, please, Mark.
Okay.
Make sure your camera's right, please, if you don't mind.
Okay, is that okay?
I don't know. Look down. Look
You
down.
want it up more?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You've been following, Mark, you know
It's
where you
better to
are.
have less of
Yes,
your
yes.
head, but to have your bottom of your mouth. Good. We've got too
You
much
want
of
to put
your.
that behind, Mark?
Right. There we are. How's
Woo!
that? Oh, what's happened now? Oh, there it is. Okay.
That we had a
All
big
right.
zoom.
Okay.
That's a bit.
Okay.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Sorry, Mark. Probably
Yes.
just read the end of the chapter, yeah?
Okay. Yes. It's
That can
only.
take us up to about 9 o'clock, I think.
Yeah, I think it will be like 4, 5 pages, 6 pages, something, 7.
Fantastic.
Is your face in there, Mark? Or it's not too
Yeah,
close?
it's fine. Okay. Hare Krishna. Sri Parikshit said, as soon as the words of Sri Baladeva entered his ears, Sri Krishna, who was really charmed with the loving devotion of the sweet-hearted ones, suddenly got up from his bed and with a loud cry came out of his bedroom and presented himself to the company. He cried out, "Oh, fie unto me! I should think my heart is built with the hardest unbreakable thunderbolt, that even now it is not broken into 2 pieces. Oh, fie unto me! The Gopas and Gopis since my childhood have loved me in all respects, but really I have forgotten even such great unmixed love of theirs. No, I have not done any good to them. On the other hand, I am solely responsible for the deep wounds I have inflicted on their tender and loving hearts. Bo, dear Uddhava, I know you are the best among the wisest, and the dearest one to me. Therefore, soon advise me what have I to do now." and find out without any loss of time how I can get rid of this painful state of mine. Sri Parikshit said, affectionately disposed Sri Devaki Devi, who keeps a sweet heart for Yashoda, wife of Sri Nanda Maharaj, now said, my dear son, Sri Krishna, you must give the best that is desired by your most dear Brajavasis. Padmavati, the queen of King Ugrasena, with crooked intelligence and evil mind on account of her old age, found that Sri Rohini Devi, mother of Balaram, had not given any importance to her previous remarks, and now on hearing Sri Devaki Devi, she got afraid with suspicious thoughts that Sri Krishna may go to any extent and ultimately may even offer the kingdom of her husband to the Gopas. Therefore, with the idea of safeguarding her husband's kingship, she posed herself to be the best minister to solve such a complicated problem. And with the purpose of directing the prevailing thoughts of Sri Krishna, she felt bold to suggest the only panacea to cure the mental illness of Sri Krishna, who, according to her, was the only hope of the Yadavas. She said, ah, Krishna, why should you so much lament for them? Listen to my advice. Yes, you both the brothers were fed for 11 years by Nanda Gopa, no doubt. Therefore he, Nanda Gopa, may demand some return for it, but at the same time, he must take into account that all these years you tended his cattle, for which we have something to ask as compensation. Anyhow, we are not so narrow-minded as to ask for anything. On the contrary, I assure you that now itself I shall call for Garga Rishi to make an account correct to the pi, and I shall ask my husband, King Ugrasena, not only to repay that, but also to pay double of it, so that in future they can never have any claim against you. I promise here itself that it will be done forthwith. Sri Parikshit said, Bhagavan Sri Krishna, as if he didn't hear Padmavati at all, but making himself a little composed, once again asked Uddhava, Bo Uddhava, the wise one, you being quite aware of the feelings of the Gopas and Gopis, therefore now clearly tell me immediately what do they want from me, and what have I to do? Sri Parikshit said, at this remark of the Lord, Uddhava actually got deeply wounded in his heart, and with a heavy heart and breathing deep sighs, spoke, Bo Sri Krishna, alas, even you do not seem to have studied their hearts. They do not crave either for sovereignty or for any of the celestial gain, but you are the cynosure to them, and as you only are wanted. Nothing more they dream of gaining here and hereafter. This is my humble prayer to you. Kindly give heed to what I am going to say, and thereafter you may come to your own conclusion. My dear master, you do quite remember that after killing Kamsa, when you sent your ornaments back with Sri Nanda Maharaj, the gopis of Vraja were thrown into an ocean of melancholy, and they lamented, saying, ah, what ill luck has befallen us, that Sri Krishna has thought of our life so poorly, thinking that we wanted back those ornaments. Or is it that he considers these as his presentation to us? Fie unto us that even now death has not met us, although our life has come to the point of suffocation. Most disgraceful and still more sad is this, that Nanda Maharaj, leaving Sri Krishna at Mathura, meets us with these ornaments. Thenceforth, they totally lost the hope of your return at Vraja, and they have started their fast until death. Sri Nanda Maharaj took onto himself the blame of offending them, and he could not open his mouth for 3 days. Next, with utmost cleverness, she tried to console them by stating that you, Sri Krishna, have promised to be back soon after annihilating the demons at Mathura. Sri Narada said, my son, Sri Krishna, never breaks his promise to be quite assured.
Nanda said, Nanda.
Oh, sorry, what did I say?
Narada.
Oh, sorry. Thank you. Sri Nanda said, thank you. Sri Nanda said, my son, Sri Krishna never breaks his promise to be quite assured that after discharging his duties at Mathura, soon he will return to us. But just to indicate his love for us, he has sent those ornaments as his token presentation. Sri Uddhava said, the pure and most simple-hearted gopis of Vraja, keeping full confidence in the words of Sri Nanda Maharaj, which are actually yours, wore them in all their person for they thought that nearby you, Sri Krishna, would be pleased. They also spoke among themselves that soon, while Sri Krishna will come back to Vraja and will see that we have obeyed him, and accordingly have decorated ourselves with the ornaments that are sent for us at his loving presentation. He will be extremely happy. But, my dear master, Sri Krishna, thereafter, in spite of not presenting you at Vraja when I was sent there with the message, they lost all their hopes of having you once again amidst them, and thenceforth they lost total interest of their life. They are now likely fish out of water and act as if they are virtually dead. I was so much perturbed at realizing that my delivering the message may prove to be the definite cause of their death, that with my utmost promise I sought to console them for the time being, saying that as soon as I reach Mathura, I will make Sri Krishna present himself amidst you without any loss of time. Therefore, with the hope of your immediate presence there, they are still surviving. After my arrival at Mathura from Vraja, where time has passed without your advent, there they have left everything of their belongings, and miserably and most precariously they now spend their life practically preparing themselves for the grave. Oh, all this you should ask your elder brother Baladeva to narrate. Sri Parikshit said, Butter-like, soft-hearted Sri Krishna observed that Mother Devaki and Queen Rukmini, along with her co-sisters, were shedding tears with bowed heads, overshadowed by the thought that he might be going to Vraja for good. Therefore, affectionately considering their case, Sri Krishna decided on writing an urgent letter to the Gopas and Gopis of Vraja and wanted hurriedly writing materials to be supplied to him then and there. He wrote, "Oh, my dearest Brajavasis, nay, my very life itself, I am striving to discharge my duties here as quickly as possible, and giving a consolation to my friends here, I shall be coming in no time to join you. I trust you will not suspect me." He wrote this letter with his own hands so that they may feel his deep love, and wanted to dispatch it soon. At such merciless dealing of Sri Krishna, Uddhava was extremely perturbed, as he knew well how this letter would react in the minds of the gopis. So he burst into a loud cry and said, "I feel, dear master, their life cannot be saved without your very presence there. No love letters can solve the problem, and I have come to my final conclusion that there rests no alternative solution." Sri Parikshit said, as soon as the words of Uddhava entered the ears of the wicked mother of Kamsa, Padmavati, she became ferocious, and oscillating her head, and with a sarcastical laugh, said, "No, ignorant Devaki, yes, now I quite understand that those most cunning Gopas, by feeding Uddhava with milk for a long time, have exercised their mesmerism over him, Uddhava, and now, through him, they want to get back to your son Sri Krishna to Vrindavan, with the sole purpose that once again they can put him to look after their cattle in the dense forest full of thorns and inhabited by wild animals." Sri Parikshit said, at the damned utterance of Padmavati, Rohini Devi, the loving friend of Sri Yashoda Devi, became impatient and with great anger shouted out, "Hello, Kamsa's mother. It is extremely painful to hear you. How has it entered into your brain that the people of Vraja will engage Sri Krishna for looking after their cattle, whereas bereft of the sight of Sri Krishna, even for a period of the twinkling of an eye, makes life a void to them? Lo, Padmavati, the chaste one, have you totally lost sight of the fact that even at times when Sri Krishna went to the woods and his sight was obstructed behind a tree, let it be even for a moment, at once his comrades, the cowherd boys, became impatient as if life went out of them, and cried out, "Hey Krishna, hey Krishna!" Again, bereft of Sri Krishna's sight during the daytime, the gopis felt it to be a day of Brahma and the period of a twinkling of an eye, as long as 4 yugas. Once again, they, as thirsting souls, were constantly looking towards the sun to see how far it was leaning towards the west, and at the approach of twilight time they ran to the outskirts of their village to feast their eyes on the beauty of Sri Krishna's person. And as soon as the sound of his flute entered their ears, they became enraptured by the celestial mysticism. So fie unto you, Padmavati! How could you think that they, the gopis, would engage Sri Krishna for their selfish material gain? Sri Krishna was at his full liberty. Therefore, for his own pastimes and fulfillment of curiosity, along with his elder brother Baladeva and friend devotees, he used to go to the pasture land to tend the cows. You must know that there are plenty of lakes full of blossomed lotuses, and sweet fragrance thereof ever causes delight to them. Swans and bees in plenty are murmuring in the intoxication as they drink honey therefrom. Again, above all, Kalindi Nandini Devi, Yamuna, graced with supernatural beauty and attraction, shines with her full youthful charm all around Braja Bhumi. And Manasaganga, flowing from the Vindhya mountain, and many other such rivers as beautiful as Yamuna, also flow there to yield delight to the cowboy. Oh, what enchanting scenery! The banks of those rivers and the lakes are full of fine sands with pleasing green grass spread over. And the wonder of wonders is that naturally hostile creatures such as goose, deer, tiger, forgetting their animosity, move about harmoniously. Such is the land of Sri Krishna's sports in Vraja. Again, plenty of birds of different features create amusement in his heart. And there are numberless trees full of beautiful flowers and delicious fruits and creepers of golden hue, which have created bushes where innumerable love-laden peacocks and cuckoos join in their merrymaking, which is so enchanting that even Brahma is tempted to dwell there. At Brindavan and Govardhan, there can be absolutely no opportunity for anyone either to kill or to take away the cattle. All the cattle habitually in the morning, while let loose to go to the pasture land, and happily with their full freedom eat grass and drink water to their fill, and again at nightfall come back to their respective places of their own accord. Therefore, they need no one at all to look after them. So how blasphemously you, Padmavati, gave vent to your ideas about the spotless people of Vraja. Ah, most disgraceful. Padmavati got extremely insulted, and she cried out, "Lo, the foolish lady, lo, the talkative number one. If there is no need at all of the one to look after the cattle in Vraja, then how do we learn that many of them are dead?" Sri Parikshit said, Sriman Gopal Deva Sri Krishna got extremely wounded at the remarks of Padmavati, and with a lacerated heart, drying throat, and eyes full of tears, he helplessly looked at Sri Baladeva, who was quite aware of the past and present conditions of the people of Vraja. Rohini Nandana Sri Balaram, who is also the brother of Sri Krishna, could promptly study the mind of Sri Krishna. But he, having recollection of the feeling of the Gopas and Gopis of Vraja, could not control himself. Therefore, he burst out with a loud cry, and after making himself a little composed, with great difficulty, he said, "Bo Krishna, what should I say about the cows when they loved you so much? Even the dear birds, trees, creepers, grass, and all the bushes are all faded and gradually dying on account of your absence there. The rivers and the mountains of Vraja are mostly disappearing. Bo, dear brother Sri Krishna, only a very small number of people there are surviving with a strong belief that they will have your sight once again at Vraja. Now I beg of you not to ask me further about them. Even now, if you do not hasten your advent at Vraja, then the remaining Gopas and Gopis will definitely be welcomed soon by the Lord of Death. The most beautiful Yamuna of Vraja is almost dried up, and not even knee-deep water she carries. Being held up by your own hand, the high sky-kissing mountain Govardhan has now become as low as a hillock. Even by continuous prolonged fasting, the gopis do not die because of drinking your nectarian nam, but it is sure that the pang of separation from you will act as a forest fire, and alas, untimely, will consume them all. Oh, what a sight to conjure up! Such a scene breaks the heart into pieces. Sri Parikshit said, listening to these pain-stricken words of Baladeva, Sri Krishna, who is the soft as the petals of the lotus and whose heart is ever reserved for the distressed due to extreme perturbance, rested on Baladeva's neck and burst into a loud cry. Tears rolled down his cheeks and flowed over his breast. Sri Parikshit said, O mother, our only hope, Sri Krishna, along with Baladeva, soon fell unconscious on the floor. And how undone! Looking at such a sudden spectacle of Sri Krishna and Balarama fallen down, all present there, including Rohini Devi, Uddhava, Devaki, Rukmini, mother of Sri Pradyumna, and Satyabhama, and others, became completely nonplussed and could do nothing but cry. So a clamant cry, hue and cry about the event soon spread over the air, at which Sri Vasudeva, Sri Ugrasena, along with others in their bewilderment, hastened to the spot, and seeing Sri Krishna in that condition, all of them became almost stunned, and from all corners nothing but only lamentation could be heard. And that's the end of chapter 6.
Great. Amazing, isn't it? Well, that's a real cliffhanger now, isn't it? For the next episode. What's going to happen